So this couple pulled off the biggest heist in modern human history. Not with guns, not with masks, and definitely not with getaway cars. They did it with a laptop and some code. And here's the crazy part. By the time they got caught, their stolen Bitcoin was worth up to a $4.5 billion. The wildest part of the story isn't the heist itself, it's how spectacularly they failed at being criminals. So stay with me, this is going to be insane. August 2016. Cryptocurrency was booming. Bitcoin was hot new thing. People were putting serious money into their digital wallets on the platforms they barely understood. One of the biggest of these platforms were Bitfinex, a Hong Kong based cryptocurrency exchange where millions of dollars flowed every single day. At this moment in time, Bitfinex was processing more trades than ever before. Users trusted the platform with their Bitcoin. They thought their money was safe. They were wrong. Let me introduce to you Ilya Lichtenstein. On the surface, he looked like just an tech guy living in New York City. He had a legitimate business, a sales company, which he had co founded. He had a normal life and a normal job. But Ilya Lichtenstein had a dark secret. See, his father, Eugene Lichtenstein, was a hacker. Not a movie hacker, but a real one. This guy had broken into the first National Bank of Indiana. He had hacked into the Secret Service computer system. Serious stuff. Crime was into the family, so to speak. And in 2016, Ilya decided that it was his turn to make history. On August 2016, Ilya Lichtenstein sat down on his computer. He used advanced hacking tools and sophisticated techniques to break into Bitfinex's network. And here's the thing, he did it beautifully. He got in and no one noticed. Once he was inside the system, Liechtenstein didn't hesitate. He authorized over 2,000 fraudulent transactions. 2,000 transactions. Each one pulling Bitcoin from different user accounts and funneling them into the cryptocurrency wallet that he controlled. When it was all said and done, he had stolen 1,19,754 bitcoins. At that time in 2016, that was worth around $72 million. Then he did something smart. He covered his tracks. He deleted the access credentials, he deleted the log files, he erased the evidence that he'd ever been there. For years, investigators wouldn't know to where even start from. The impact was immediate though. Bitcoin started to crash. It dropped 20% just from the shock of the hack. Bitfinex shut down all trading. The users started panicking. But Liechtenstein, he was sitting with $72 million in the stolen cryptocurrency wallet. The next move was critical. He couldn't just start to move all the money around. That would draw attention immediately. So Liechtenstein did something that showed real patience. He waited nearly 5 months. He left that money sitting in his wallet, untouched. Then slowly, carefully, he began to move it in tiny increments, spreading transactions into multiple accounts, covering his tracks at every turn. Because Liechtenstein knew one thing, moving cryptocurrency was going to be the hardest part. By the time Ilya Liechtenstein was developing his money laundering scheme, he had a girlfriend. Her name was Heather Morgan. She was 31 years old around the time of our arrest. She had a real career. She was a cybersecurity professional. She had written for Forbes magazine. She was a legitimate columnist. Columnist is nothing but a journalist. So she had real skills. She had prospects. She had a future. But Heather Morgan also had a online alter ego. And this is where things get absolutely ridiculous. Meet Razzlekhan. That was Heather Morgan's rap stage name. And yes, while building a legitimate career in cybersecurity, Heather Morgan was also releasing rap music on YouTube. And I am not being mean here. The music was, let's call it, uniquely her. The production quality was amateur. The lyrics were questionable. And her dance moves in the videos, well, they were something. Her most famous track, Versace Bedouin. When she first released it in 2019, it got barely any attention. But 3 years later, after the arrest, when people learned who she was, the video blew up. Not because it was good, but because how hilariously bad it was. But here's the thing about Razzlekhan. She wasn't just making rap videos. She was creating a digital record of her existence. A footprint, evidence, breadcrumbs that would eventually lead federal investigations into her and her husband's crime. And Ilya Lichtenstein, he knew what was coming. He needed help with his money laundering operations. And the person he turned to was his wife, Heather Morgan, aka Razzlekhan. After the hack, Lichtenstein enlisted Heather Morgan to help him launder the money he had stolen. She knew about the theft. She knew money was stolen and she chose to help him move it anyway. They married in 2019, cementing their partnership both in love and both in crime. Okay, so Ilya Lichtenstein now had help from his wife. Together, they need to move $72 million in stolen Bitcoin without getting caught. This wasn't simple. This wasn't just money moving from one bank account to another. This was sophisticated crime. Over months and years, Liechtenstein built an entire criminal infrastructure. He created multiple cryptocurrency wallets, dozens of them. He opened accounts on multiple cryptocurrency platforms using false names. He created fake personas. He purchased fake identities. He was preparing to acquire fake passports. He built a network designed to do one thing: turn stolen cryptocurrency into the real money that he could use into the real world without tracing it back to him. But cryptocurrency transactions are complicated. The blockchain, the digital ledger that records every transaction happening around cryptocurrency is permanent. It doesn't forget it. Every movement of Bitcoin leaves a record. So Liechtenstein had to be smart about how he was going to move the money. Okay, I just realized I was saying the name incorrectly. It is Liechtenstein. Alright, this is pretty much difficult. We'll just call him Ilya. In 2017, Ilya started moving small amounts of cryptocurrency into the dark web. He used a marketplace called Alphabet. You know, one of those infamous sites on the dark web where you can buy almost anything: drugs, weapons, stolen goods, even fake documents. For a while, this worked. The dark web was supposed to be untraceable, anonymous. But here's where the fate stepped in. In July of 2017, law enforcement led by FBI shut down Alphabet. The entire marketplace was shut down and seized. Years of criminal infrastructure was gone and Liechtenstein's stolen Bitcoin was exposed. But he had anticipated something this might happen, so he had a backup plan. So he rerouted the money to another dark web marketplace called Hydra, a Russian marketplace. He kept moving, kept adapting, and kept trying to stay ahead of the law. What he didn't realize that law enforcement were watching, waiting, building a case. And every transaction he made, every wallet he created, every account he opened was leaving a trail. The hard part of Ilya and Morgan wasn't stealing the Bitcoin. That was actually the easy part. The hard part was actually converting the cryptocurrency into the real money without getting caught. Because here's the issue: once you have $72 million in Bitcoin, you can't just go to your bank and deposit it. They'll ask questions. The IRS will get involved. Law enforcement gets involved. You need to launder it. So Ilya and Morgan needed to convert the Bitcoin into real money. Dollars, euros, whatever. Without anyone noticing that millions of dollars were suddenly flowing into their bank accounts. And this is where they started making mistakes, real mistakes. Here's what's crazy about this story: these weren't dumb people. Ilya was able to break into world's biggest cryptocurrency exchanges. Heather Morgan was smart enough to work in cybersecurity and write for Forbes magazines. But they were about to prove something important. Being smart doesn't make you good at crime, and being rich and being illegally rich doesn't make you careful. After they stole, wait for it, $4.5 billion in Bitcoin. Yes, at the time of their arrest, the value of Bitcoin was exploded to $4.5 billion. After that, they relaxed. Lichtenstein and Morgan had rented an apartment in Manhattan. Not a modest apartment, a $6,500 a month apartment. They started living lavishly, buying expensive things, nice things, the kinds of things that people with legitimate documented income were supposed to be able to afford. But they had no income, no jobs, no explanation for why they have access to hundreds of millions of dollars. Instead of disappearing, which is what every law enforcement official who studied the case said they should have done, they did the opposite. They stayed visible. They stayed online. They created evidence. In 2022, Ilya Lichtenstein and Heather Morgan made a purchase. It seems small, insignificant, but it would prove to be their undoing. They bought Walmart gift cards. Let me be clear, there is nothing wrong in purchasing gift cards, but these gift cards were purchased using the funds that came directly from the Bitfinex hack, and they redeemed them from the Walmart's iPhone app. And here's the thing about the iPhone app, it required an account with a name, a real name, a Heather Morgan's real name. That single purchase, those Walmart gift cards, created digital conversations between stolen cryptocurrency worth millions of dollars and a real person with a real identity. Honestly, hard to imagine a more perfect way to get caught if you tried. Literally, agents investigating the case were later like they had billions of dollars, billions, but they got busted over gift cards. But that's not even the most ridiculous part. Lichtenstein and Morgan didn't just make careless purchases, they documented their entire life on social media. I mean, how stupid someone can be. By sitting on stolen billions, they made videos, posted photos, made videos, left digital footprints everywhere. Morgan continued to post Razzlekhan's rap videos. They posted about their life. They created a complete record of their existence. Their timeline, their locations, their spendings, everything the law enforcement agency would need to build a case against them. And remember that Versace Bedouin video I mentioned? The one nobody watched when it came out in 2019? Well, 3 years later, when their names hit the news as cryptocurrency thieves, that video suddenly went viral. Millions of people watched it, mocked it, made fun of them. Investigators watched it too, and it all connected to the timeline of the theft. Federal investigations from FBI and IRS criminal investigators and Homeland Security investigations were quietly building the case. For years since 2016, they have been tracking the movement of these bitcoins through the blockchain. And even though the transactions tried to hide behind the multiple layers of false names, false wallet, investigators were slowly, methodically following the money. But they needed something concrete. They needed something that connects the digital money with the real person. And then the Walmart gift cards. Investigators traced the accounts used to purchase the gift cards. They traced the Walmart app login and they found, here we go, Heather Morgan's name. From there, it was just game over. Once they had that connection, investigators went to a judge and had a search warrant. They searched Lichtenstein and Morgan's apartment. They searched their cloud storage accounts, they searched their digital device, and in those files they found everything. They found the private keys to the cryptocurrency wallet, they found the wallet addresses, they found the records of false information used to create accounts at cryptocurrency exchanges, they found plans to acquire fake passports, they found the blueprint of their entire crime. Most importantly, they found the keys to the wallet containing 94,000 of the stolen Bitcoin still sitting there waiting. February 6, 2022, the law enforcement moved in. Ilya Lichtenstein and Heather Morgan were arrested in Manhattan. Both of them federal charges: conspiracy to commit money laundering, conspiracy to defraud the United States. The news broke immediately and it went viral, not just because of money, not just because it was a big heist, but because of who they were. Bitcoin's Bonnie and Clyde. The media called them the cringy couple, the couple that had billions and threw it away for what? For apartment rents, for gift cards. The investigation that started in 2016, the moment the bitcoins were stolen, finally came to its conclusion. 6 years of work, 6 years of tracking, 6 years of following the digital breadcrumb, and it all came together because of sloppy decisions. Social media posts, Walmart gift cards. When law enforcement accessed Lichtenstein's cloud account and obtained the private keys to the main cryptocurrency wallet, they did something unprecedented. They seized 94,000 bitcoins. At the time of the seizure, the bitcoins were worth around $3.5 billion, $3.6 billion. The law enforcement called it the largest financial seizure in United States history. Think about that for a second. Man, $3.5 billion seized in a single operation based on what? Walmart gift cards. But here's what's wild. Even with 94,000 bitcoins seized, there were still roughly 25,000 bitcoins unaccounted for. Lichtenstein had kept some of the stolen cryptocurrency spread across multiple accounts of wallet, and even law enforcement couldn't recover all of it. That 25,000 bitcoins at today's price worth multiple billions of dollars still out there somewhere, according to investigators, lost to crime, lost because of decisions made in 2016. Ilya Lichtenstein and Heather Morgan couldn't deny what they have done. The evidence was overwhelming. The digital footprints were everywhere. The private keys were recovered. The wallets were identified. In August 2023, they both took plea deals and they pleaded guilty. Ilya Lichtenstein pleaded guilty to conspiracy to commit money laundering, the actual hacking of Bitfinex, conspiracy to defraud the United States. Heather Morgan pleaded guilty to money laundering conspiracy to defraud the United States. They admitted to everything. There was no trial, no jury, no not guilty defense, just admission of guilt. On November 14, 2024, just few months ago, the sentencing came down. Ilya Lichtenstein, age 35, was sentenced to 60 months in federal prison. That's 5 years plus 3 years of supervised release. After his release from federal prison, he had to forfeit the illegal proceeds. He had to give up the money. Heather Morgan was sentenced to 18 months in prison, less time than her husband's, for laundering conspiracy, and she also got plus 3 years of supervised release. She also served additional time under house arrest before her sentencing, so her actual time in prison was less than that. But both of them were going to prison and both of them were going to pay for the crime. The judge's message was clear: no matter how smart you are, no matter how much money you steal, if you can't keep your mouth shut and you can't avoid the FBI, you are going to prison. And here's where it gets even weirder. In December 2024, just recently, Ilya Lichtenstein released first public statement, an actual video from federal prison, and posted it on X, formerly known as Twitter. And what did he say? He said he acted alone, that his wife Heather Morgan wasn't directly involved in the hacking, that his elderly father has nothing to do with it. He took full responsibility for the 2016 Bitfinex hack. Now, whether that's true or not, it's debatable. The documentary, which we'll talk about in a minute, suggests that his father might have inspired him. His wife admitted to helping him with the money laundering, but Lichtenstein is in the prison now, making statements, trying to control the narrative. On December 6, 2024, Netflix released a documentary about this entire crime, biggest heist ever, directed by Chris Smith. The documentary covers everything: the hack, the investigation, absurd decisions, the social media presence, the viral Razzlekhan videos, the arrest, the seized bitcoins, all of it. And it brought entire story to mainstream audiences. People have now watched the story of bitcoins, Bonnie and Clyde. Millions have seen the cringe rap videos. Millions have learned about the Walmart gift cards. The documentary is essential viewing if you want to understand the story fully. It's where the lot of details come from in this video. It's where the investigators tell their side of the story. It's where the victims talk about. Let me give you the numbers one more time, because I cannot comprehend my mind to the numbers they were sitting on. When Ilya Lichtenstein hacked Bitfinex in August 2016, 119,754 bitcoins he stole were worth only 74. Not only, I cannot say only, were worth $74 million. When he and his wife were arrested in February 2022, that same Bitcoin was worth $4.5 billion. That's a 60-fold increase in the value. If they hadn't been caught, they just held the Bitcoin and waited. Today in 2026, that stolen Bitcoin would be worth over $8.9 billion. Crazy amount. Here's some stats that I did for you guys. That would have made Ilya Lichtenstein and Heather Morgan combined wealthier than roughly 370 richest people in the world. They threw away an almost $9 billion fortune to make Walmart gift card purchases and rap videos. Let that sink in for a moment. $9 billion. So let's talk about what we can learn from this story, because there are some real life lessons here. Lesson 1: greed and arrogance even blind smart people. Ilya Lichtenstein was one of the smart people who can break into the world's largest cryptocurrency exchanges. He knew how to cover his track. He knew how to build a complex money laundering operation. He was genuinely smart. He and his wife got comfortable. They stopped thinking like criminal and started acting like rich people. They believed they'd gotten away with this, and that belief made them careless. Lesson 2, my guys: digital footprints are permanent. One Walmart gift card purchase, that's all it took to connect $72 million stolen in cryptocurrency to a real person. One transaction, one app login, one name. In the digital world, everything you do leaves a record. Every purchase is tracked. Every video you post is archived. Every transaction you log, nothing disappears. And if you are committing a crime, leaving a digital trail, law enforcement will find you. Lesson 3: the blockchain never forgets. Lichtenstein thought cryptocurrency is anonymous. It's not, it's pseudonymous. Your wallet address doesn't have your name on it. But once that wallet connects to the real world, through an exchange, a purchase, a bank account, the entire transaction history becomes traceable. Investigators can see every movement of Bitcoin through blockchain, every single transaction, and they have the time and the resource to follow the transaction for years. Here's what really crazy about this story. Investigators, ex-hackers, and law enforcement all said the same thing when interviewed for the Netflix documentary. What you do with that much money is you disappear. You vanish. You use a foreign passport. You change your identity. You go to a country without an extradition treaty with United States. You live quietly. You don't post. You don't do anything that draws attention. Instead, Ilya Lichtenstein and Heather Morgan did the opposite, because criminal intelligence is different than actual intelligence. Being smart in business, being smart in code doesn't automatically make you smart at breaking the law. It's a different skill set, and they didn't have it. If this story fascinated you, honestly, it should. You need to watch Netflix documentary, The Biggest Heist Ever. It's got all the details, all the interviews, and if you liked this video, I'd really appreciate that you like this video, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and let me know in the comments what are your thoughts on this story, and also that what would you do if you do this kind of stuff, and how you would have handled the money. Would you have disappeared? Would you have just held the Bitcoin and waited? Let me know, and I'll see you soon in the next video. We are going to be we are going to be consistent. Thanks for watching. Goodbye. Bye bye. Be safe. Take care. Take care of your loved ones.